Okay, all right. So I'm going to be sharing my screen on who we are at SWI. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? All right. So who we are at SWI, we're a faith-based organization with the principal aim of igniting the success power within people with emphasis on the youth. Please let me know if you can hear me because it seems I'm not sure if I'm audible.
I can hear you loudly.
Okay, all right, great. So we're a faith-based organization, and this is why we started the session with prayers, with the principal aim of igniting the success power within people. So if you notice, most of our activities are usually centered around a monthly theme because for each of the different areas of our lives, we're trying to build a total person, a complete person, and our TA, the people we speak to mostly are youths because we understand that the youths are the future of the nation. So yes, we're a faith-based organization with the principal aim of igniting the success power within people with emphasis on the youth. So, what is our vision? Our vision is to raise people of outstanding success for global relevance. We don't play small. This is why you see that we have people from all over the world. We have people come to speak to you from all over the world. We have, even members of our community are not just based in Nigeria. So, understanding that we know that we're building people for outstanding success, we are going to be globally relevant. All right, so next is our core values. Our core values are spirituality, synergy, passion, exemplary lifestyle, excellence, discipline, and diligence. For those who are just joining us, these are the things that, this is the foundation of everything we do. We're a faith based organization, like I said before. As a team, we work together. If you notice, there's been a lot of bands, a lot of, fun in the room because this is who we are as a team. We're a family. We see there's a lot of synergy amongst us. We're passionate about what we do. Everything we do it with so much passion. We live exemplary lifestyle, so we walk the talk. We don't just come to speak and just say things from out of the blues. But we say things that we practice, and we practice things that we say. Excellent in everything we do. We try to be as excellent as possible. We're a faith-based organization. Our God is an excellent God, so we have to represent Him. Then we're also disciplined. We understand that in order to, apply these life principles, in order to be globally relevant, in order to be successful, discipline is very important. And finally, we are diligent. So this is the foundation of everything we do at SWI. Our mission our mission is to help nurture youth for creativity and excellence, to teach youth God's way of success. There's a world's way of success, but then there's also God's way of success. So we are here to teach youth that. We also are here to help youth discover their talents and purpose. We also want to raise an army of people who will take over the economy positively in different areas, be it in media, be it in medical field, be it in accounting, be it in marketing, in any area of your life. Basically, we want to help you take over the economy successfully, positively. And then we're here to help people ignite their potentials because we understand that people have all of these potentials, but not everyone recognizes them, not everyone knows about them, not everyone is actively utilizing their potential. So we want to help you ignite it so that you can burn. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to me. And right now, drum rolls, drum rolls, drum rolls, drum rolls, drum rolls. Who is going to be our drummer? I need the drum rolls. It's time for the session. Woo! And right now, we're going to be inviting our guest speaker, none other than the marketing professional, global marketing professional, Olafumito Makoju. Please, I can't hear the excitement. I can't hear the excitement. Yeah, it's great to have Fumito. Fumito is a global marketing professional. She used to be in Nigeria before she decided to jackpot and go and spread the gospel of marketing and of SWI where she is now. So guys, let's give a resounding clap for Fumito as she takes the virtual stage.
Hi everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. The energy in SWI is always so contagious, of course. And Thomas Olamide, you're doing a good job. Like I was there and I'm like, what is happening in this group? Like if you're not part of SWI, you probably will not understand the kind of joy that we radiate every time. And to us, it feels like home. And definitely, I feel like I'm at home as well, just engaging in this session. So thank you for the warm welcome. I'm really part of the family. My name is Fomitoma Konju. I'm a marketing professional, and I'm going to be speaking today on communication canvas. I would share my screen if admin would allow. Um, and just let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes. Oh, please, your slides are always giving. We can see your screen.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you've been part of SWI long enough, I took a very similar session 3 years ago on communication. I mean, I'd typically had sessions on communication with SWI. But while I was preparing for this particular one, it was like the Holy Spirit just told me, firstly, it's obvious that we have so many new people coming into breakfast meeting and, SWI and the community. Also, it's such a relevant topic, understanding how to communicate, when to communicate, the clarity that you need with communication. I was talking to my team maybe 3, 4 weeks ago as well. And I told them, guys, before we send any email to leadership, before we send any communication to leadership, ask yourself the 5 whys, right? Why are you sending that? Why do they need to know this information? Why do they, why do you think they need to know the information? By the time you get to the fifth why, you really would know if you should be fixing that meeting, if you should be sending that email, or to be honest, if it's not necessary and it could be a coffee chat, etc. So we're going to be looking at communication again today from a different lens, of course. And just bear with me, take as much as you can. I'm open to the questions that would have as well at the end of the session. I would have said feel free to ask me any question in between, but also maybe not to break my flow. But if you feel like it's very necessary and you don't want us to go past it, please just raise your hand, your virtual hand, and I'm happy to take the questions. Um, Next slide. So about me, I'm a Jesus baby. I say it every time I wear this. So here in this part of the world, people are not very vocal, or not everybody is very vocal about their faith. I'm currently in Dublin, Ireland. Not everyone is vocal about their faith. It's very like people are Christians. I have an amazing church community. There's so many churches here as well, but in the workplace, because there are a lot of things about like just being respectful of people, nobody really wants to step on your toes. So it's my faith, but I really don't want to. However, I do not shy away from talking about my faith. I'm a Jesus baby. It's my life purpose. I'm very passionate about sharing Christ, making him known, sharing the gospel to the ends of the way in my own way. So just speaking to people and showing people through my own life as well that I'm a Christian, and God's got my back any day. University degree, I really really love sharing this part as well of my journey, because when I say I'm a marketing professional, and by the way, I think I should pause and really give a shout out to Olamide for completing level 6 of CIM. We understand what it means. So congratulations, Olamide, on completing that feat. I'm super super proud of you. I know how it started.
Thank
I'm glad that you
you.
were here, so well done. Um, it's
Thank
yeah,
you.
let's celebrate. Let's give people their flowers when they can smell them. So Olamide, congratulations and well done.
Thank
This
you.
is the time for your speech. So give us a nice 30-second speech.
I'm so humbled. I mean, I want to give glory to God Almighty for this amazing. But yeah, so first off, I'll just say thank you, Fumito. My first experience with marketing was literally you. I remember they we talked about it was at my first job. You had come to Palms Mall, and then we're just talking about, oh, if I wanted to consider marketing. I mean, it was still very sketchy. What do I need to do? And you're telling me about taking courses on LinkedIn, on Coursera as well. So that was where the whole thing started. started from. And today, here we are. So, Fumito, take your flowers back. Thank you so much for your support over the years, and for that, thank you. To Jesus be my glory.
Yes, yes, I'm super excited, and thank you for sharing that part as well. So, guys, if you put your mind to anything, you can do it. But, anyways, let's go on. Also, I started as a building technologist in Covenant University. This is what I studied. I worked with it for a year and a half ish, and then I had to move. At the point where I was moving, it was more of like a truthful thing to myself to say for me. So, what are the things that you can do, you already do passionately, but you do not know that you can make money from? And I think for me, that was marketing, because at the time when I got to the organization that I worked for, I was doing marketing, but I didn't even know it was marketing. Like, I was very involved in the look and feel, the getting, the way, the perception, the company's brand, the image, and copy, text, all of that part of marketing. At the time I was doing it, but I didn't even know I could term it as marketing. And I usually would say this story that, but the time I decided to take marketing serious is when I was doing all of that. They didn't have anyone in marketing department. I was doing all of that, and then I asked for a pay rise because it seemed like I was doing double the work. When I left building, I took a job as an executive assistant, and I moved from being an executive assistant to being the administrative manager, officer manager of the company. Then I became operations manager. And then in all of this, I was still doing marketing. So I'm like, oh, okay, I would love to actually take on a proper role as the marketing manager at the time. And it felt like, oh no, but we can't pay you. We're teaching you everything that you know. And I told myself that's the last time anybody will undervalue or underpay me for what I know. I'm churning out here. And I started taking the courses, etc. And here we are. So thank God. And now, of course, I'm a marketing professional. It's a career adventure for me. The truth is, the more you do marketing, the more you realize that there are different twists and turns to marketing. There's the project management side of it. There's like the brand management side of things. There's, there the creative and content side of things. So there are different looks and feels to marketing, and just find what part you really enjoy and milk it and enjoy it. What are some things that I love to do? I love to talk. If you're close to me, I can hold a conversation for as long as possible. We can talk about everything and anything. And so this builds up my will to network. I still do talk a lot. However, like my job now, I'm doing more of sales now ish than marketing. And so imagine I talk to 22 clients every week, and excluding internal meetings, etc. So understand that I really do talk. I'm very assertive. I know what I want, and I do not shy away to communicate that, both with my friends, with my community, with my colleagues at work. I'm an assertive communicator, and you would learn more about this as we go on. And I'm very grounded as well. I'm not one to be tossed here and there. I'm very graceful, but I know what I want, and I communicate that accordingly. So let's get right into it. Now, the topic says communication canvas, and there are three things that were the taglines here. It was clarity. I'll just go back. It was clarity, effectiveness, and result. And so the first thing we're talking about here is communication. I wanted to do a build up and say, will anybody try to explain what they think communication is, or what they can explain about communication? But I'll just go right into it. Communication is simply the act of transferring and correctly decoding information from one place, person, or group to another. It's very important here, because a lot of times I've heard people say, when people talk irrationally, they're like, I'm responsible for what I've said. I'm not responsible for what you understand. No, you're responsible for what you've said, yes, but you're also responsible for what people understand. Because if there is a misunderstanding of what you've communicated, then you did not actually.
Zion, come here.
Zion would
Why is
come.
he crying now?
Zion would come if we could just mute and get.
You know that you are very lazy.
Okay, perfect. So, sorry, Zion is not lazy. Zion just wants to do other things today. But let's continue. So yes, communication is simply the act of actually communicating, and you're responsible as well for what people understand. And how are you responsible? You need to ensure that the medium to which you're communicating is actually the medium that will pass on your information the most correctly, right? Every communication involves one sender, one message or a group of messages, and a recipient. Like, so that you are the one sending the message, there's a message that you're being sent, and actually maybe I should add there's a medium to which you're sending that information through, and then there's a recipient. At the beginning I spoke about communicating with my team and telling them if we really need to communicate some things to management through either a meeting, a team meeting, or just an email or a ping or a coffee chat. Understanding the medium to which you can actually accurately pass your information is also it's also your responsibility as an effective communicator and as a leader. The transmission of message from the sender to the receiver can be affected by a huge range of things. The emotion. Now, maybe we should drill down here a lot. I, for one, if you know me, I wear all my emotions on my face. So I might not communicate much, but I say a lot with my face. And I've tried to avoid this too many times, but unfortunately, this is for me too, right? So if I like you, you most likely would see, with the approach, with my emotions. If I do not, and very often will I say I don't like people, I just always believe maybe we have different ways of doing things. But you would also see, because I most likely will not agree, I might not communicate it as well, but you would know. So your emotions in communicating is also very important. Sometimes you're trying to communicate something and you're overwhelmed with the emotions and you communicate the wrong way, right? Sometimes we need to, not even sometimes, we need to always put our emotions aside when you're communicating. Of course, maybe you would say in a romantic relationship, or like in marriage, or in you know in whatever the other, any relationship other than agape, maybe yes. However um however it's still very important to be able to differentiate. That takes a lot of emotional maturity to differentiate between how I'm feeling and the actual situation, and how can I be tactical in bringing those two together in communicating what I want to communicate. The cultural situation as well. Here, for example, in Nigeria, we're very direct people. We say it as it is. There is no going back and forth. There's no, I'm trying to say A and I'll say B. Oh, do you think like you should maybe do it like this because that might actually be the solution? No, I think you should do it like this. This is the reason why, and we move on. And we see this a lot in the workplace, right? Our leaders are more like very, you would see the aggressive communicators, right? And but here is more like you cannot tell someone, I think you should do that, or do that. It's more like, do you believe you should maybe be doing this, and this is my reason for saying that, but it's up to you. Like, you're more like trying to weigh the conversation, because it might rub off people the wrong way. They might think like you're bossing over them, or you're being too aggressive or too forceful. So the cultural situation also affects the way we communicate, the medium, which I've already touched on, and of course your location. What are the categories of communication? Does anybody know the different categories of communication? And I'll just let us drop a note in the chat box if you know, or you can unmute and say this if you know the different type of communications. Anybody? Somebody? The different categories of communication. I mean, if you've been here at SWI long enough, you should.
Verbal, written, oral. There's
Amazing.
even telepathic nowadays.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Asha. I was gonna say, like, if you've been at SWI long enough, because we've really dealt, on this particular, even the slides on communication. Of course, I tweaked a few things, so you should know. So yes, Asha communicated appropriately. There are a wide range of ways, to which we communicate. At every given time. So there's a spoken and read and verbal communication, which includes, of course, a face-to-face, telephone, radio, television, or media. Basically, it's using your words to communicate something to a different party. So you're speaking, right? Communication is not only about the words that you say, right? You don't, which means you don't have to like put the words in like yes, no, maybe, like you don't have to say it. I spoke about like how I say a lot of things with my face and my emotions. So that's a part of communication. But one very good part is learn, like, no matter how good you are in all the other parts of communication, if you cannot vocalize your communication, then you have a lot of work to do. So we have people that cannot put sentences together, cannot put words together. You cannot articulate the way you're feeling or what you're trying to say. That part really needs to be worked on, because sometimes people cannot read the other forms of communication, right? And maybe people, it takes longer for people to get, read, and understand. I would say sometimes if I want to pass a very important information, I try not to text. I would rather maybe send a voice note, but reduce my text, because someone can read the text in a different tone, in a different manner. If you use the wrong punctuations as well, it might come out differently. So spoken and verbal communication for me is one of the most important categories of communications that we should be um, imbibing. The next would be non-verbal communications. Of course, this involves like your body language, your gestures. One of the things that I do a lot when I'm on my call with my client is my two hands show. This for you might seem like you are might seem very irrelevant if you don't know what that is in communication, but it shows them that I'm paying attention fully. Um, you can be communicating. I can be on a call and I'm texting with my phone and I'm looking at them, or I'm doing other things, or I'm looking away. They think I'm not paying attention. When I show my two hands in communicating and I'm doing all of this, it shows that, oh, I'm actually involved in the communication. I'm looking at them, I'm making hand gestures, I'm leaning forward to emphasize on something. Putting my hands on the table to show you that I'm looking. I try to avoid looking at my time, because for you, you might just be looking at the time. For them, it feels like, oh, maybe you're wasting my time. So non-verbal gestures, your body language, all of this, the way you dress as well. If I come on a call and I'm wearing, maybe I come on an official call and I'm wearing maybe hoodies, it seems like, are you really taking the conversation serious? But if you wear something a little bit more decent, you come on the call, you're put together, your shoulders are square, you're not like that and saying, okay, so what are we talking about? Let's go. It also shows that you're communicating well. um and then I put like your smell as well. Like this, of course, is more face to face, but like when you come into contact with someone, like maybe you've not brushed, or you're not smelling right, you came out from the gym, you're sweaty, and you're just like, all over the place. It depends on who you're speaking with, but you need to understand that you might be communicating something as well by just that gesture. So there are many subtle ways to which we communicate, and sometimes very unintentionally with other people, and we need to take this into consideration. I would give a certain example. I was trying to close um, a pitch, an account plan with one of my clients, and on the call, I was like this. If you can see, if you're looking on video, you might see this. So my hands were folded and I was leaning back and leaning forward, and my manager was on the call, right? And the client had a few objections, and yeah, my hands were like this, and I was actually saying it, very enthusiastic about my answers. If you know me on my call, I'm extremely enthusiastic and high energy. And in between all of this, when we finished the call, I was chatting to my manager and I'm like, I did amazing. I mean, we closed X million number um amount dollar deal, and I'm super excited about it. What do you think? She's like, you seem very defensive on that call. I was taken aback. I'm like, what are you chatting? I'm telling you, I did amazing. My client is happy. I closed this deal. You're telling me I was very defensive. And she said, you folding your hands on the call with the client, even with them raising objection, shows that you might not be saying it. For me, in my head, it was different. I'm like, just trying to be comfortable, and I think maybe it was even a bit cold that day, and I was just trying to be comfortable in my own self. But to the client, it seemed like I was defensive just because I folded my hands in that call, or to my manager as well. So communication can be verbal and non-verbal. Written communications as well. Of course, we all do this. It's easy with this social media age. We all know how to do it. Is the easiest for us anyways. Emails, social media, books, magazines, internet, and the likes, so, and letters, right? So written communication is also you just putting your words into writing. And visualization, so this is what you use a lot sometimes. Thomas does the doodlies, I think that's what they're called. So the visualizations where you're trying to pass a certain information with like images, graphics, animations, graph charts, maps, logos, what have you. This is also a very good part of communication. And your logo, if you're a business owner, Your logo says a lot about your business as well. If you do not know, um, people, I was chatting to my mentor yesterday, and we were talking about a company called Mars, and he said, I was searching up the company, and I'm like, their logo looks very boring. He's like, yeah, it's a very boring company, but like this does not stop that they're making a lot of money from their business. But like that's perception, and communication is also has a lot to do with perception. So there are types of communication. There are different types of communication, right? One is passive communication style. Two is the aggressive communication style. Three is the passive aggressive communication style, and four is the assertive communication style. Now, I intentionally skipped through the first slide because I didn't want us to read through the details of that to get a hint of what it is. But does anybody know what kind of communication style is the best or the most accepted? Yeah. Oh, Mama K actually got the verbal rating. Yes. I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat box. Does anybody? Yes. Assertive, assertive, assertive. Perfect. Yes, Mama Kate said, Eunice said as well, assertive. Ajali says four, assertive. Olamide says four, assertive. Are we really sure about that? Are you sure? Sheon says four. Okay. Are you sure?
Um, Sorry, so can I just say something quickly to that?
Of course. Why not?
Okay. So I think it's supposed to be a blend of all of them depending on the situation. I think the situation will determine what um style of communication is the best.
That is partially correct. That is partially correct. Yes, I would agree with you, but also not totally. I would understand why. But thank you very much, Agile. That's actually a very good call out. Um, as a very good communicator, as an excellent communicator, you should know when to use the different type of communication styles. You're correct. But sometimes some communication styles are not necessary. For example, the aggressive communication style, and we'll see the details of this, as we go on. I don't think as leaders, as humans, we should really foster the use of the aggressive communication style. But there are times when you really need to use the aggressive communication style in passing your information, especially when you've been communicating, with someone maybe through the assertive, the passive aggressive, and they are still not getting it. Then you go hands on, full on, and aggressively communicate. But it should really be your last resort. So passive communication, this usually fails to express people that are passive communicators usually fail to express their feelings or needs, allowing others to express themselves. So it's more like this individual. It's a very laissez-faire communication style. There is no charisma to it. You lack eye contact, poor body language. I would say people that are passive communicators are very shy. They don't know how to behave. They act indifferently. Anything you say, yes, they're easily swayed. What do you think? You know, whatever you decide is fine by me. They most often do not have an opinion about some things, and they are able to be tossed here and there, right? They would usually say, well, I don't believe people should consider my feelings, or people don't consider my feelings, so it's fine, just do what you need to do, right? So they display a lot of they have an inability to say no as well. And if you know, one of the best skills or as life skill is your ability to say no. If it doesn't work for you, learn to say no. Learn to communicate accurately, being of course very gracious and nice, but this doesn't work for me. I would appreciate if it's done differently. I do not like that, this is taking this turn. Communicate it however you deem fit, but just don't be aggressive about it. So this is the passive communication style. And but I said passive communicators are also easy to get along with, as they follow others and go with the flow. Examples of a phrase that a passive communicator would use is, I just want to keep the peace. I don't like stress. And to be very honest, I fall into this bucket sometimes. Like, is dragging for too long, especially if it's not important. So agility, your statement of you falling into the different communication styles. Yes, you can fall into this if, why are you dragging it? It's not really that important in the grand scheme of things. It's maybe 0.1 or 0.5 of the entire thing. I'm like, you know what? I just want to keep the peace. Let it slide. I do not have an opinion here because it really doesn't have anything to do with me. So this is the passive communication style. The second communication style is aggressive communication. Aggressive communicators, often issue commands, ask questions rudely, and fail to listen or understand the point of view of others. So here you understand why I say it's not necessary to use this. Like, I don't think at any point in time you should, issue commands rudely, ask questions rudely. Like, there's self-respect, there's the respect that you give to others and you need to give to others and get back in return. There's at no point should you not try to understand the point of view of other people, right? So an aggressive communicator is, I don't think this is for leadership, but of course, there are some times when you need to be firm but not rude, and you need to issue commands if you've been communicating that and it's not been working. But of course, in the most gracious and most respectful way. The aggressive, are we still here? Just to room check. If you're here, say yes, yay, thumbs up. Let me know. Let me get a feel of the room, please.
Yeah,
Yes, yes,
thumbs
yes,
up.
yes, yes.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
here.
yes. Thank you. Thank you. Great. The aggressive communication style is emphasized by speaking in a loud and demanding tone. And to be fair, I think people that have very low confidence are the ones that use the aggressive communication style because they feel like I have to be the loudest in the room. I have to speak in a demanding tone. I have to um, overemphasize or dominate or control the conversation for me to be heard. It's often, it's a blaming style. It's a blame pushing kind of style. It's very intimidating. You're criticizing, you're threatening, you're attacking, amongst other traits, and it's not necessary. If you're truly powerful and you're a leader and you're a good communicator, you do not have to talk loudly to pass your message across. A very good example is Daddy Gio, right? Like, I for one, like, every time I listen to his message, I almost cannot follow through because that's not particularly my own communication style. But I mean, look at the following, look at the miracles, look at the signs, look at the wonders. Like, that is a man of God that you cannot, push aside because he has a very different communication style. It's very like calm, passive, you would say. But it's very direct and it's very assertive. He understands what is passing on, and you can see the signs following, right? But it's not aggressive. It doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't use a demanding tone. It doesn't use like intense eye. However, if you look at a different pastor, or you look at Bishop David Oyedepo, they are very different, right? Bishop David Oyedepo is very different. He's very assertive. He's demand, like he says it like, if you're not going to do it, like there's something wrong. They are very different communication style, but you need to know when to use it. If you notice when I was reading, I didn't mention one of the texts that I have here, which is intensive eye contact. But I think this should be used as a communicator, whether or not it's aggressive. Well, passive, we already know they are laissez-faire. Aggressive, assertive, or passive aggressive, you should always maintain eye contact. When I talk to people, I know sometimes it feels intimidating, but it shows my confidence. So when I'm talking to you, I'm looking straight into your eyes. Of course, if you don't know how to hold the conversation, that would intimidate you a bit. You might start looking away, you might start looking at different other places. But when I look straight into your eyes, you know that it's game on. I'm very serious and you have to do. Always maintain intense eye contact or even eye contact. It takes a lot of practice, right? It can be very awkward when you're looking at your boss straight in the eye and you're communicating something. Of course, don't like look at it like straight on 5 minutes into their eye, but like look at it, like look away, look, but like it shows that you know what you're saying. You're not scared to communicate what you're saying, and you're very assertive about it as well. So aggressive communicators can be considered as leaders and command respect from those around them, can be considered, but also you don't have to do all of this to be considered a leader if you do it the right way. So examples of phrases that an aggressive communicator would use is, I'm right and you're wrong. I'll get my way no matter what. It's your fault. They're always pushing the blame. They're always trying to show that who the boss is. But it's not always the right way. So that is that about that. The third one is, and I'll just move very quickly because of our time. The very third one is passive and aggressive communication. Most passive aggressive communicators will mutter to themselves rather than confront a person or an issue. So they're not going to just keep in their shadow, and they're not going to like overflog it and ride over you, but like, they say it to themselves, and like they don't want to offend you, but they also want to get their information. Okay, that's not to me. So a passive aggressive communication style appears passive on the surface, but within he or she may feel powerless or stuck, building up to resentment. So here, because you don't want, you have something to say, but you don't want to lord over the conversation. Now you start talking to yourself because you feel like maybe I shouldn't say it, maybe it's not the right time, it's not well, like I don't know if I should be saying this or not. Is you feel powerless, you feel stuck, and because you cannot communicate what you have to say, it builds up a resentment because sometimes you feel like I can be doing it differently. This situation can turn out differently if I just said what I have to say and it's implemented. But because it's not, you just hold off that resentment, you hold off that communication, and nobody gets you for sure you're frustrated and you don't get the result that you want to see, and that's not a way to live, right? So passive aggressive communicators are most likely to communicate with their body language, and we're Nigerians, right? If you're looking at the videos, you shrug your shoulders, you nod, you do something with your eyes, you roll your eyes, all of these things you're saying with your with your body language, but you don't want to say it. How do you feel? No problems, it's okay. You're saying something, but you're not saying anything, right? That's passive aggressive communication style. And they lack open communication to other people. They're giving people silent treatment. This is passive aggressive. You're saying a lot, but you're not saying anything. This is passive aggressive, right? And Ajali, if you think about it, should there really be a time when you're being passive aggressive and trying to communicate? It doesn't help what you're trying to communicate about, right? So this should be one of the communication styles as well to really tone down on, and only use if it's necessary. Like, yeah, we women, we know when to use this style of communication, right? I don't know when men use it. I'm not speaking for the gender, but we women know when to use this passive aggressive communication style, and it works for us when it does. So kudos to us. But in an official setting and a leadership kind of setting, maybe reduce this communication style. Examples of communication aggressive, passive aggressive communicators will use is, that's fine with me, but don't be surprised if someone else gets mad. Sure, we can do things your way, and then they mutter to themselves, even if it's stupid. They are trying not to offend you, but they don't totally agree. And the fourth communication style is the assertive communication style, where they express their needs, their desires, their ideas, their feelings, while considering the needs of others. So it's really the best type. Like, I'm not shutting you off, I'm also communicating mine, and we can have a healthy debate about what it is, how to go about it, and what to do. The aggressive communication style is thought to be the most effective form of communication. It features an open communication link while not being overbearing, right? Assertive communications aim for both sides of the win. So it's more like, I'm balancing my opinion with yours, I'm balancing your opinion with mine. I'm taking into consideration how you're feeling, what you want to say, and how can we merge these two ideas, for the success, for the advantage of the entire team. One of the most important keys here is that we're always using the I statement. I feel frustrated when you come late for meeting. Like, you're late for the meeting, and it's very annoying. Like, it's annoying to me. It might not be annoying to you. It might not be annoying to every other person on the team. So it's important to communicate how you're feeling, and do not pass or what's the word now, project on other people. An assertive communicator is very aware of their own feelings, and they communicate their feelings, taking into consideration how others might feel. So, I feel frustrated when you come late for meetings, or I don't like having to explain this over and over again. Why do I have to explain it over? Why do I have to explain it over and over again? You have to explain because I don't understand it, right? So if you're explaining it over and over, it's because I don't understand it. But like you say, I don't like that I have to explain it over and over again. That communicates already that, like, I'm doing this over and over and I don't like it. Maybe you should take action, or maybe you should let me know why. That feels more, it lands better than, why do I have to explain myself over again? And are you sure I really have to be explaining myself over again? Get to it. Like, and saying, I don't like that I have to explain myself over and over again. You have said the same thing in different ways, and one lands better. And to be quite frankly, one will get you to do the action a lot more than the other style. It indicates ownership of feelings, of behavior without blaming others. Example is, I realize I have choices in my life and I consider my opinions. I respect the rights of others, and we've said it. I don't like that you're coming late, etc, etc. Now moving very quickly, taking a deep breath, because I've been communicating quite a lot this morning. How do you become an assertive communicator? Because we've known that this is the fairest of all communication style. This is the best, the most respectful, the one to communicate the information the clearest. So how do you become an assertive communicator? Does anybody know how? Does anybody have any tips, tricks here that they would like to share of how to become an assertive communicator? I would wait till I get a response before going on, just to be sure that you're all here and you're following. Does anybody have any comments on how to become an assertive
Uh,
communicator?
so hi. So I think one could be understanding yourself first of all, to know what it is you want and what it is you don't want, so that, because if you don't understand that part of yourself, it'll be difficult for you to communicate that to other people.
100%, 100%. Thank you very much, Ajali. Well done. Self-awareness, correct. Yes, Rhoda says, personally, I have the conversation with myself first, and with someone else to confirm, if I'm not being too stern. Amazing. Yes. This is actually a very, very good way of, being an assertive communicator. Before communicating something that you're not sure how it will land, it's good to run that by someone, say that to yourself, in the mirror, and say, if I heard this information back, if it was someone passing it to me, how would I feel? How would that land? How does it, make me feel? That would give you a sense of how you're communicating, and how you should, maybe tweak and change a few things. How to become an assertive a communicator rather. Understand how others want to be communicated with. Understanding how others communicate can be a key to getting your message across to them. In order to be a more assertive communicator, first, take ownership. Use the I statement a lot. This is how I'm feeling. It's not necessarily how you're feeling. It's not necessarily how if it's the same thing for you, but this is how I'm feeling, and I want to communicate how I'm feeling. And at that way, nobody can tell you shouldn't be feeling the way you're feeling. I'm feeling the way I'm feeling because this is me, right? If it works for you, if it doesn't work for you, you should respect my own feelings, right? So taking ownership of the conversation by saying, using I statement, maintaining eye contact, as I said, learning to say no. You're being assertive. You know what you want. It's like, and I'm not saying no, damn all consequences. It's like, no, because this is what I feel, this is how I feel, and this is how it rubs off me. Voice your needs and your desires confidently as well. And very quickly on the communication process, I'm trying to run through so that I can take questions if we have any. When I spoke about the how to communicate, I spoke about like being a sender, being a message or a series of messages, being the mode of communication, and then being the receiver. It's the same thing, right? You have a sender, you're sending a message, you encode it in the channel that you feel like it's the most effective. However, this channel can be a barrier, because if you're using the wrong channel, it might be hard to decode the message that you're sending, and it might land differently. But once you can encode your message in the right channel and it's able to be decoded by the recipient, that is a good communication chain. The second process of communication is when there is feedback, right? So it's The recipient has received the message. They understand exactly what you're passing. They can encode their own feedback as well in the right channel. They send it to you and you are able to decode the feedback. So communication is a two-way street. It's not only about you that's sending it to the recipient, it's also what the recipient understands and feeds back to you, right? This is the chain, this is communication process. Happy to take any questions here. So I ran through all of these. I think the slides will be shared, hence why I put a little bit more details than necessary to run through the call, because I feel like if you need to know more, to understand a lot more, you can read the slides. But yeah, receivers can use techniques like active listening when it's not passed in, when you're not using the medium of maybe written, radio, social media, etc., and it's more verbal and vocal communication. Active listening pays, it's one of the crucial questions. I say the best communicators, and I say this to myself as a seller as well and as a marketer, the best marketing professional, the best sales professionals, and the best communications ask the best questions and listen the most effectively. You ask the best questions because the more questions you ask, the more you get to unveil and know about the product, the service, the person, the client, what have you. And you listen as well, because if you ask all of the right questions but you're not listening for the answers, then you've lost track, because the answers will help you know what target market to be addressing, what products you should be doing, what you should be refining about that product, and what have you. So asking the right questions, listening to the answers that's being given, clarifying as well, asking clarifying questions. Osho made me listen to a series of a masterclass, and the guy was talking about some skills like mirroring when you're talking to someone, mirroring, and I think the other one was there was mirroring, and there was I can't remember the other one, but it's more like someone says something and you say back what they've said. So like, I'm really tired today, and you're like, you're really tired today, and they're like, yeah, because da 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 da. You've been able to get more from them by just mirroring, because when you mirror what they've said, it's like they've said it and you're saying it back to them in a way that you want to get more information from them. You don't necessarily say like, oh, I'm really tired. Why are you tired today? You can say that, but understand that like, why I'm tired today is closed ended. Like, it's like, oh, why are you tired? Because I did this. Like, they just feel like you want to get the information. But when you say, oh, I'm really tired today, you're really tired today, yes, because like it makes the conversation flow and it seems a lot more natural. I'll find that piece and maybe share it with the breakfast team, and they can share with you. But it's a masterclass by I can't remember his name as well, very Chris Voss, yeah, by Chris Voss, and he mentioned a few things that were very good in communication. Okay, two pitfalls of communication: poor handling of crucial communication and failure to connect with your audience. Every audience that you're speaking to needs to be communicated with differently. Not everyone is as mature to take information the same way. Not everyone needs the same order of explanation. Not everyone needs the same order of context. You hear often when you're talking to top leadership, they don't have the time. C-level, give them the bullet points, give them the real idea, talk on a strategic level and keep it going. When you talk to, lower level, B levels, etc., you're talking more of like tactical things, day to day, because they are really the hands-on. So understand the audience that you're speaking to and how to communicate this as well. And then when you're handling crucial conversations, know how to go about it. Like we fail to handle crucial conversations well, because before the conversation starts, we're not managing the expectations surrounding those crucial conversations. We're being told the lie that when you're having deep conversation, you need to just be honest and effective. Just say it as it is and keep it moving. But saying it as it is and keep it moving does not bring you the right response or the right solution at every point in time. Someone wrote in his book, when it matters most, we do the worst. And when you have crucial conversations, that is when we as bad when we are communicating badly, do the worst because we don't prepare for it well. We feel like I just want to go in, say my truth, and keep it moving. But that's when you should actually prepare the most, manage expectations, understand it for both ends, and see how best it can land to the person. There are two toolkits for the communication pitfalls, and Rhoda already mentioned this one. She said, practice the dialogue, understand what are the topics I want to speak about. How do I communicate this? How would it land? What am I saying? Get over yourself, right? Don't let your ego get the best of you. And this is the pitfalls. Ego is a very bad thing. We feel like I just want to move on. How can you say that to me? Do you know who I am? Do you know what I've been through? Do you know that I have my CIM level 6? Do you know yada 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 yada? But sometimes you forget that, like, it's not only about, like, don't get over yourself. Someone else has been there, they've done that, they have a t-shirt. Someone always has like a better experience. Someone has done deeper things. Someone else is working in a multinational. Someone else is getting more pay than yourself. Someone else is being trampled upon. Someone else is going through a bad relationship, just like you probably might be going through. Someone else is going through that bad friendship and or whatnot. There are different scenarios to this, right? Don't get over yourself. Calm down. Understand from both. Examine the motive. Figure out what's most important. If you want to burn bridges, but I don't believe in burning bridges. And this is why you actually need to practice the dialogue and don't get over yourself. Like, there's sometimes you say something in a way that you've actually burned that bridge and there's no amendment. Ask yourself the crucial question: what is the outcome I'm trying to get from this? What am I trying to get from this conversation? And that helps. Get creative. Look for other ways, interesting ways to communicate, and have those challenging conversations, right? We played a game today. That was a very good way to communicate, right? The things that I love to do, but make it fun, put it in pictures. Let's create a story from different mindsets and perspective. We put it in writing, right? So get creative as to how can I communicate this and get a win-win situation other than a lose-lose situation. You've lost the friendship, you've lost the communication line. There's nothing to take home here. While you can create a win-win situation, ask clarifying question, understand how you should make the conversation land. What medium should I be using this conversation by? Should it be a text that they can read and go back and look at over and over and send to other people and say, oh, this is what Fumito said. How do you think? This person says their opinion, this person says their opinion, everybody says their opinion. Or should it be a phone call where you really can hear their emotions and address it accordingly? Find the common ground. Often we think in terms of us versus them. As leaders, as good communicators, we need to unite with each other and have a central focus and a mission. The second one as well was said by Ajali: be self-aware, be humble. Do not let your ego get past it. We've said this. Be self-aware. Skilled communicators are fact finders. Understand the facts about that situation before you go into it. We spoke about clarity and we spoke about doing your homework. The last piece of that I'll be sharing here is, as a good communicator, you need to be self-aware. We addressed that. How do you know that you're self-aware? And this is the Johari window. There are 4 quadrants, right? So it's what others know about me and what others do not know about me, what I know about myself, and what I do not know about myself. So the best place to be is what others know about me and what I know about myself. You are extremely self-aware because this is my open area. What do people what a person knows about themselves is known by others as well. So for example, I say, Fumito, I'm a good communicator. And others around me say, oh, Fumito talks a lot and she actually communicates well. This is my open area. There's nobody can tell me, oh, you don't do this well, because I know for the fact that I'm a communicator. Others will tell me I'm a communicator. Capiche, is finished. Nobody can sell it to me otherwise. If you're looking at maybe a different person, you can say, oh, this person feels like they're passionate. Oh, but you're never. One thing that we always say about Ogabaya is he's extremely passionate. That's his open area. You see it every time. He knows this about himself. We all know it about him. That's his open area as well. games master. He knows that he can get the energy bubbling, in any gathering. We all know this about him. That's an open area. Now, what do others know about me that I don't know about myself? That's your blind spot. And you really should try not to be here. Like, or if you're here, you should, this is where feedback comes in. Say, oh, how am I doing this? What does this land? What are the things that I do well that maybe I do not know that I do well, that I should build on, right? This also helps you build skill, makes you better self-aware. People can say you actually are doing this thing. If it's a good thing, keep doing it. I think you should build skill, learn, practice, um, take a course, do what you have to do to get better at it. And if it's not a good thing, drop it, try to do. But your blind spot is what a person does not know about themselves, but others know. And another part is what you know about yourself, but others do not know. And ask yourself, why do I like, if I know that I'm maybe good at something, or I'm in a certain way, how come others do not know this? What do I have to do to bring that to the realization of other people? Do I need to create an awareness on social media? Do I need to be a certain way on social media? Do I need to become a content creator? Like, do what you have to do, but there has to be that merge between what I know about myself and what others do not know about me, and how I can pass that across to become my open area. And the unknown, which really we shouldn't be, because God help us, this will really come from the Holy Spirit, is what you don't know about yourself and what others also do not know about themselves is unknown to everyone. Nobody, you don't know it, others don't know it. These are the things that are revealed to us by the Spirit, our reigns instructors in the ninth season. So the unknown, but both yourself and what others do not know, is really what only the Holy Spirit can speak to us. And if we're actively listening, the Holy Spirit is always speaking. The day that you take action is your day. Coolies. The art of communication is the language of leadership. We had this years back in SWI, as one of our Monday motivations, and I thought very nostalgically to bring this back. The art of communication is the language of leadership. An assignment for everyone as we wrap up: your to-do list. Learn to listen more, learn to maintain eye contact. It's not easy, but you can do it. Seek to understand. So in asking the question, in asking clarifying question, in listening, seek to understand other than just listening to give your own answer. Seek to understand. Once you understand, really, you realize that you're a better communicator, because you can say more, you can appeal to the person more, in them feeling like you're actually bringing a solution to what they're talking about. Speak slowly. The Bible talks about this: be quick to this and be slow to this. So speak slowly. Maintain a warm smile. A smile changes everything about the communication. You can actually be passing the most heartbreaking conversation and just be smiling. It can be annoying, but a warm smile changes things. Like, it changes the way the person will receive the information. It might not be the best news, but you just smiling and being like, I'm here for you, I'm explaining this, and having that one smile helps the person receive it a lot more than if you were frowning. It's already bad news. Of course, understand the kind of bad news you're sharing, but like, it's already not so great conversation. Don't make it worse by frowning and speaking loudly. Handle conflict immediately. Don't let the sun go down on your anger. Once it happens, speak about it, talk about it, understand the medium to speak about it, and develop your network. Here, fix more conversations with people, be more interested about people's life, want to know more. Your network is really your net worth, right? I tell myself at every point in time, if I want to get something done, even if I don't know the person to get it done, I should be 2 phone calls away to getting to the person. So either I know the person, or someone that I know knows the person that can give me what I want. This is the best line of action. If you do not know how to get the solution, and you do not know someone that knows how to get the solution, you are in the worst place. So at every point in time, you should have people around you in your network that can bring you closer to what you want. And to build this channel, you need to have people in your network. You need to communicate more. You need to network with people. You need to genuinely be concerned about getting to know people, and not just for a selfish reason, but because you're really interested. Encourage feedback and questions, and develop trust. Thank you very much. A lot has been said today. I'll take a stand to drink some water. But thank you for having me. I'm happy to take questions now, and I hope this was a great session.
Wow. It's always such an enlightening session in breakfast meeting, and
Massive impact.
particularly here with you, Fumito. Thank you so much for everything that you have said, talking about the different means of communication, talking about, our communication styles. I mean, this is nothing short of excellent, and I'm super glad we got to do this. I'm super excited that we picked you to speak on this topic because, I mean, who better? Who better, really? I mean, I don't think there's any other thing left to really say. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation, and thank you for bringing your A game here. Thanks so much. So right now we can just prepare our questions for Fumito. I have one question though, and that's on, you talked about how to become an assertive speaker. Okay, let me go through the comment section first before I ask my question. So I have people saying thank you so much for this power packed session. I have Renke saying amazing. Adenike, very enlightening session. Osho, every time you speak on communication, we hear something fresh. Yep, word. I'm coming from Osho. I mean, masterclass. Yes, this is an entire masterclass that could be paid for, but I mean, all thanks to being a part of the family, you get to enjoy this for free. Thank you. Thank you so much for an enlightening session, says Ayabami. Well done, F Mark. Thank you so much. Okay, so back to my question. In becoming an assertive listener, speaker rather, how do you bring a balance between that and becoming cocky? So you know how you can be assertive, and I mean, I would say one of the reasons why the passive speakers speak more passively is from a place of, oh, I don't want to come off as rude, I don't want to come off as aggressive, and maybe stemming from a deeper problem of people pleasing, right? But then, how do you actually balance it with, you know, between being assertive and not being aggressive or outrightly, this is what I think, and then nothing else, like just coming off that way. I mean, you might not intend to come off that way, but that might be how it is perceived. So, yeah, I don't know if my question is clear.
Yes, it's clear. One of the things that I would say here is leaving it open-ended and seeking for what others think as well. So when you know what you want, is you know the direction that you want it to go, right? You say, this is what I think. I really believe that. Understand, we said the assertive uses the I statement, right? And they are sharing their own opinion. So it's like, I really believe, and if you want also to control the narrative and the conversation, try to bring two try to bring like reasons to try to buttress your point with reasons that they can almost not overlook. So I really believe that we should be doing X number of things because of XYZ and ABC. What do you think? You've said what you want, you've communicated what you really want to do, you've buttressed it with points that they almost cannot say is not true, and then you throw it back to them. At that point in time, if they still say no, it's either they just do not want to go with your opinion, or you can then have a healthy debate and say, oh, but we also think this, and then you bring all the cards to the table, right? So not being passive, you almost will not get it done, because at the end of the day, if you're not saying anything, they will ride over you. Being aggressive and saying this is how we should do it, it feels like, why are you lording over us? We all have a desire here, but you're saying this is what I think. Remember the I statement. You've listened, and this is where active listening comes in. When you're active listening, you're listening to all what's important. What are the most important things that this thing needs to solve? What will tick the box? Like some people, if you bring something to the table, it's almost like yes, because you already know what the person wants to see out of that task, the conversation. So you already write out the most important things, and then in your communication, you're like, I really believe that we should do this because tie it back to what is important to that person. By time you then speak, and then you now leave it open and say, this is how I think, and I think it will bring us this result, what do you think? By the time you throw it back to them, it doesn't feel like you're lording over them. Then you can have a more rational and more healthy debate about that situation than you being passive or aggressive. I hope this answers the question.
Yes, that was perfect. I think, like, to be honest, that's a major takeout for me, and I'm sure there are other people who would take that out as well. We have a question in the chat box which says from Rhoda. One, if you find yourself shrinking in front because you're too nice and you just thought to not talk about it, how do you go about that? And then a second one on, if it's relational and you see express assertively and you express assertively how you feel and the person keeps doing the same thing, how do you go about that? So two questions.
Okay, let me take the first one first. And Rhoda, if you're happy to come off mute, please do. I think maybe I need a bit more context here for the first question, if you're able to. And let me read the next one.
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
on a
yeah,
train. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm
I
on a
can hear
train.
you. I can hear
Okay.
you.
So let's say you've practiced in the mirror. You said to yourself, you've literally prepared what you're going to say, and then you get in front of the audience, and they start talking, and they know they're wrong. They've apologized, but at the same time, you still want them to know. But because you're nice and or they said sorry, let me just let it go. Every time you do that, that's my kind of person. I just okay. I'll just let it go. I'll just let it go. But then it just keeps building. But how do you get to, regardless of the apology and everything, still make them listen and hear how you feel?
At the time when, thank you very much for the context now. So at the time when they start interrupting, if it's happened more than once or twice, like for them, they just want to get past the conversation and say sorry. They are not taking into consideration how you're feeling. So while you accept the sorry, you can be like, I really appreciate your sorry. I'm so happy that you actually apologized. It's made me feel better. However, I really just want to share how it made me feel so that you understand how it's coming from my own point. This is how it landed for me. No matter how much they apologize and they want to get past it, if they really respect you, they would listen. You will tell them, and don't feel like their sorry was not welcome. You tell them, thank you so much for apologizing. It really means a lot to me that you apologized. It just makes me feel that you care about the way I'm feeling, you care about the relationship, or what have you. However, I really do still feel like I want to share how it came off to me and why it made me feel that upset or why it made me feel this way. You've accepted the communication. You're not saying, no, don't apologize. I don't want to hear it from you. You've accepted it, but you've taken it a step further to still make them listen to it, because another time, if they don't know how it made you feel and if they don't know how it landed for you, they will do it another time and feel like an apology will solve it, right? But if they really care about the situation and you've apologized and they hear you and they actually take the time to listen, the next time they are trying to do it, they would feel like, oh, but Rhoda said that this is what happened, like this is how it made her feel. And if they really cared, they would not want to make that feel. So once you've practiced and you get in front of the conversation, it's a two-way street. If they really respect is reciprocal, so they say what they have to say, listen to it, acknowledge it. Don't just say, but I also want to tell you. Don't say you've aware boy. You say, yes, I've heard you, I appreciate it, but also da. And then you can then come back and take the apology again, sandwich approach, and keep it moving. So that's what I would say about that.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
And let me know if it works for you. If you want us to talk about this offline as well, we can. For the second one, it says if it's relational and you see express assertively how you feel and the person keeps doing the same thing, how do you go about that? If someone keeps doing something over and over after you've communicated to them that you don't like it, it depends on the weight of the matter. If it's something that costs you and will cost you, go aggressive in communicating it. If it's something that would not cost you and it's not so major, be passive about it, but you will now understand. This also takes how you understand people. There are some people that if I say I will never address it and I don't address it, it's because I don't care much about it. And to be quite frankly, no matter what you do, it doesn't really affect me. It's okay. So I wouldn't address it. I'll be passive about it. But I already know that this person, this is the level of maturity and respect I have for them. I don't expect much from them. So it's okay. They can do whatever they like. We keep it moving. But if I respect you, I expected differently. I would keep, and the matter is weighty, meaning it will cost me something. I'm not good. If I'm assertive, oh, I believe. If you don't do it, I will be very firm. This is what it is. At that point, I should care about how you feel, but over time, you've not cared about how I felt. So I go aggressive, and sometimes we go hot, and then maybe we'll cool down. But if I'm going cool and you're still just being laissez faire, maybe especially if it will cost me something, maybe I need to go head on and we can disagree to agree eventually. I hope that answers it as well. Yes, thank you. Over to you, Olamide.
Thank you so much, Fumito. Thank you. Does anybody have any other question? We can take more questions now. Any other question before we call it a day? Okay, so I would believe that there is no other question. I mean, if you have questions later during the week or some other time, you can always drop them in the community or reach out to any of the admins to, ask your question. And I'm sure Fumito will be available to respond. And by the way, Fumito, you look so pretty with your hair. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for taking our invite. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. We're SWI again. I want you to go on your WhatsApp stories, just share something that you learned, one thing you learned or two, and just put hashtag breakfast meeting, SWI breakfast meeting. You can put it up in your Instagram story, tag us, and we'll repost. But yeah, it was really great having everyone here today. I hope you all learned one thing or two. And if you missed any part of it, I mean, we also went live on YouTube, so you can always go there to catch the replay. Even if you didn't miss anything, you can go there just to watch and let it really sink in. And then so you can, apply these things. All right. So we're going to call it a day. I almost want to drag it because I'm really enjoying my time here, but we just have to get to other things. So thank you, everyone. Have a lovely, lovely day. Bye. See you next month, third Saturday of September. And then, yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you for Thank you, Olala.